Welcome back, everyone. I'm Jordan Giesige, and this is The Limiting Factor. Elon Musk has consistently promoted solar as the best power source for civilization. If that's the case, why has he primarily chosen gas generation for xAI's data centers? And more surprisingly, why has he said that SpaceX and Tesla could start making turbine blades for gas generation? I think I've put together all the pieces, and today I'll walk you through the details. Before we begin, a special thanks to my Patreon supporters, YouTube members, and Twitter subscribers, as well as Rebellionaire.com. They specialize in helping investors manage concentrated positions. Rebellionaire can help with covered calls, risk management, and creating a money master plan from your financial first principles. In general, most of the new or proposed large AI data centers will use natural gas turbine generation, natural gas piston generation, or a combination of both to supplement the power they draw from their grid connection. To keep things simple, I'll refer to all of those as simply gas generation. Elon's company xAI is no exception, and has also heavily relied on gas generation for their Colossus 1 and 2 data centers. For many people who follow Elon closely, that came as a surprise because he's made no posts on X about gas generation or any similar wording. But he's made dozens of posts about solar generation. Those posts were either about electricity generation in general or using solar to power data centers in space. There's only one post where he appears to link terrestrial AI compute to solar generation. And he says that above 100 gigawatts, it probably needs to be solar and battery powered. And at 1 terawatt plus, solar with batteries is the only realistic option. Why is that? To understand that, let's look at the reasons why gas generation is the best current option, and then cover why solar might be better at larger scales. The first priority for AI data centers is speed to scale. That's because, as SemiAnalysis states in this article, AI can generate $10 to $12 billion per gigawatt annually. So getting a large data center online even 6 months earlier is worth billions. The two generation technologies that are the fastest to deploy are gas and solar generation. In fact, as Ember shows here, solar can be deployed faster, but the image doesn't tell the whole story. First, it assumes that a large infrastructure build-out is required for any new gas generation project. However, there's spare infrastructure capacity that can be accessed more quickly. For example, xAI's Colossus 2 took over a former combined cycle gas plant site and is now building their own generation there. That allowed xAI to avoid 3 to 5 years of lead times for building new infrastructure such as gas pipelines and electrical wires. Second, mobile gas generators can be rented and used until permanent gas generation is installed, and some jurisdictions even allow that mobile generation to be operated for up to a year with no permitting. Now that we've covered speed to scale, let's move on to the next major reason why gas generation is being used instead of solar for AI data centers: reliability and co-location requirements. Before you reach for the keyboard to say that a properly designed solar and battery system is reliable as any other type of generation, I agree with you. It's the land required for the high 99.999% year-round reliability that data centers need that's the issue. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Building and operating an AI data center requires a number of technical skills, so it helps to have a large local population to draw from. And, of course, the larger the data center and the quicker it needs to be built, the more having a large local population helps. In other words, it helps to build the data center near a large city or other urban or suburban areas. Not only that, urban areas are more likely to have the resource and infrastructure mix necessary to support the rapid build-out of a large AI data center, such as fiber optic trunk lines, spare buildings, transmission wires, and even water. But there's one more thing that urban areas are typically in short supply of: large, uninterrupted tracts of land. And to build gigawatts of AI data center capacity at high power reliability, it would require tens of thousands of acres of land. That's as opposed to gas generation, which can be placed near to the data center even in tight urban environments. That means the further away from urban areas that an AI data center is built, the easier it is to power it using solar power, but the more difficult and costly it is to solve all the other challenges. The third reason why gas generation is being used for AI data centers is cost. As I've said in past videos, power costs make up around 10% of the cost of AI compute. The low cost of power as a proportion of AI compute costs and the large revenue opportunity I mentioned earlier mean that tech companies are willing to pay a cost premium for power generation that can be rapidly deployed. However, if they can reduce power costs, they will. This image from Lazard shows that new gas generation can cost anywhere from $48 to $251 per megawatt hour. That's as compared to solar, which can cost between $38 and $217 per megawatt hour. So, depending on the scale and type of generation, the financing costs and terms, and factors such as fuel cost and solar irradiance, the levelized cost of energy can vary widely. Overall, the Lazard analysis considers solar or solar plus batteries to be cheaper than combined cycle gas generation and gas peaker plants. However, the Lazard analysis doesn't factor in year-round costs. That is, for solar and batteries to maintain high power output in the low solar irradiance winter months, in most U.S. regions it requires an overbuild of 3 to 5 times, which means solar and batteries end up costing far more than gas generation for high reliability power. That reliability is critical for AI data centers because if a multi-week or multi-month training run is disrupted, it can cost millions in electricity, billions in lost revenue, and set an AI company back in the AI race. So, it's cheaper for an AI data center to use just gas generation and sidestep the added complexity of incorporating solar generation as well. Yes, there is of course some solar being installed to power AI data centers, but it's a fraction of the total power generation required. So to recap, at the current scale of the AI data center industry, gas generation makes sense because it provides high reliability power at low cost that can be deployed rapidly in a small footprint. The small footprint allows it to be nested next to the data center, even in dense urban locations where the other key ingredients for data centers exist. With that said, the AI data center industry is only about 4 years old, and it's still operating at relatively small scale compared to what it will become. By 2030, globally, it's expected that over 100 gigawatts of AI compute will be deployed per year. That's the scale that Elon says that solar and batteries probably make more sense for terrestrial compute. To be clear, yes, Elon is mostly focused on using space-based compute to solve the compute challenge, and I've done a separate video on that, but terrestrial compute will still be required for training AI models. Why would solar and batteries work better at larger scales for terrestrial compute than gas generation? In my view, there's 3 primary reasons. First, there's increasing public pushback on data centers, which is a drag on growth. By building them away from cities where there's less people, such as the desert, there's less people problems. Although that would require the pain of running fiber optic cable, paying workers extra or relocating them, and so on, it could become necessary. Second, gas generation is sold out years in advance, often until 2030. And although new manufacturing capacity for those generators is coming online, it's not enough to satisfy demand. And even if manufacturers went hell for leather and built as many gas generators as they could, the industry scales much slower than the solar panel industry. Why? Gas turbines, for example, use thousands of blades that each require several days of manufacturing time. That's because each blade is made out of a single crystal superalloy casting that takes time to grow and machine into an intricate finished part. Then, all of the parts, not just the turbine blades, have to be assembled into a complex machine. Each step of that meticulous process uses manual labor and is difficult to automate. So, from top to bottom, the entire manufacturing process for a gas turbine generator can take 1 to 2 years, and it's not easy to scale or reduce production costs. For solar panel manufacturing, the slowest part of the process is growing the ingots that the solar panel wafers are cut from. That process can again take days to weeks, but it's done in bulk, automated, and the wafers that are cut from the ingot don't require complex machining. From there, the solar panels are manufactured using processes like lamination, cutting, and welding, which are rapid and can usually be automated. And year by year, those manufacturing steps become more refined and reach larger scales, resulting in lower costs that will continue to fall. So in terms of both cost and scale, solar generation is increasingly the way to go. Third, although in most of the country gas generation is often the fastest and cheapest option for powering AI data centers, there's an exception: the deserts of the southwest U.S., where using solar and batteries with a splash of gas generation would be fast and cheap. In my view, the reason why that hasn't already happened yet at large scale is because it creates the other pain points I mentioned earlier for infrastructure and skills. If you'd like to know more about off-grid compute, watch part 4 of my Terawatt Compute series. Whether Elon starts building large AI data centers in the desert in the next 3 to 5 years using solar, batteries, and gas generation remains to be seen. But directionally, it looks promising. That's because Elon has directed Tesla to start building 100 gigawatts of solar panel production, and also indicated that Tesla and SpaceX may have to start manufacturing turbine blades. In summary, Elon still believes that solar generation is the best long-term option to meet humanity's energy needs. However, speed is of the essence in the AI race, and for the time being, all factors considered, gas generation is the best option for speed and ease of deployment. But the cost-benefit equation will likely shift in the next few years. It's becoming more difficult to build AI data centers with gas generation due to public pushback and generator shortages. So AI companies will have to start rethinking their strategy. In my view, that means biting the bullet and looking to the deserts for energy and scalability. What are the ways that I could be wrong? First, deregulation and initiatives to cap power costs for residential customers may help accelerate the build-out of grid-based or grid-adjacent generation. Second, a combination of alternative generation sources, such as Bloom Energy's fuel cells, nuclear, and geothermal, could scale faster than I expect. Third, although turbine generation is slow to scale, piston generation can scale faster, and the combined effort of all the gas generator manufacturers may be able to satisfy hundreds of gigawatts of demand. Fourth, space-based compute could take off sooner than I expect and relieve the need for terrestrial compute. Either way, I'm excited to see where I end up being correct and incorrect. And as new information or trends come to light, I'll keep you updated. As always, please consider supporting the channel with the links in the description, which now also includes a referral link for Signature Solar. If you use that link to purchase home battery or solar equipment, it nets me a small percent-based credit, but that can add up on a large purchase and it really helps the channel. On that note, a special thanks to my YouTube members, ex-subscribers, and all the other patrons listed in the credits. I appreciate all of your support, and thanks for tuning in.